Good morning. This is Ain't Nobody Squeaky Clean. And as always, I appreciate you for joining the podcast. It's Sunday, start of a new week. So if last week was terrible, throw it away. If it was great, build on it. This is a new week, new beginnings. So with that, let's start. This is a topic that affects millions of Americans, but strangely, we don't talk about it enough. How did we go from pensions to 401ks? And more importantly, why? Now, before anybody gets upset, let's be clear. This isn't about saying companies are evil. Businesses exist to make money. That's what they do, right? But if we're being honest, somewhere along the way, corporations figured out a way to reduce their risk and increase yours. And that's exactly what happened when pensions started disappearing. Let's talk about it. If you ask your parents or grandparents about retirement, many of them had a simple plan, pretty simple plan. Get a good job, work there for 30 years, retire, collect a pension. Every month, a check would show up, rain or shine, stock market up or down. None of that mattered. The company was responsible for making sure that money was there. Think about that for a second. The company carried the risk. If the stock market crashed, that was their problem. If retirees lived longer than expected, that was their problem. If investments underperformed, that was their problem. The employee's responsibility was to show up, do the work, and stay employed. And now fast forward to today. Most workers don't have any kind of pension plans. Instead, they have a 401k. And while a 401k can absolutely help you build wealth, let's call it what it is. The responsibility shifted. The risk shifted. The burden shifted. It went from the company to the employee. Now, some people listening might say, come on, man, what do you mean by risk? Well, it's simple. Let's say you retire tomorrow. With a pension, you generally know what you're getting. With a 401k, you better hope the market cooperates. You better hope you saved enough. You better hope inflation doesn't eat away your purchasing power. You better hope you don't outlive your money. You better hope you made the right investment choices. And you better hope that life lined up enough so that you didn't have to tap it to survive while you were out of work trying to figure out what your next step was going to be. And that's where a lot of people are today. Notice how many times I said you. And that's because now it's your responsibility. And companies love that arrangement. Why? Because it limits their exposure. Imagine you're a CEO. Would you rather promise thousands of workers a lifetime retirement benefit or contribute a small percentage to a 401k and call it a day? The answer is obvious. The pension represented a future liability. The 401k represented a fixed expense. Wall Street loved it. Investors loved it. Corporate accountants loved it. Workers, well, that's a different conversation. Because while companies reduced their financial obligations, workers inherited all the uncertainty. And here's the part that nobody talks about. Most Americans were never taught how to invest. We weren't taught it in high school. We weren't taught it in college. Most families weren't discussing mutual funds at the dinner table. So suddenly, millions of people were handed responsibility for their retirement and told, good luck. That's like throwing somebody the keys to an airplane and saying, don't worry, you'll figure it out. Some did. Many did not. And that's why you see people in their 60s and 70s still working. Not because they want to, because they have to. Retirement isn't cheap. Housing isn't cheap. Healthcare isn't cheap. Food is not cheap. And the safety net isn't what it used to be. Now let's be fair. There are advantages to a 401k. You can take it with you. You can build significant wealth if you start early. Some people have accumulated millions of dollars through consistent investing. That absolutely happens. But the key difference is this. the outcome is no longer guaranteed. And that's the entire point. The company transferred the uncertainty to you. Think about how many things in life have followed this same pattern. Pensions became 401ks. Lifetime employment completely disappeared. Healthcare costs shifted to employees. Training budgets, they were cut. People are expected to do more with less. It's just not retirement. It's a broader trend. Reduce corporate risk. Increase personal responsibility. Now again, I'm not saying companies shouldn't make business decisions. I'm saying let's at least acknowledge what happened. The rules changed. And if the rules change, we need to adapt. Nobody is coming to save our retirement. Nobody is coming to magically make up for decades of not investing. Nobody is going to take care of your future more than you. And that's why financial literacy matters. That's why understanding money matters. And that's why having uncomfortable conversations about retirement matters. Because whether you're 25, 45, or 65, the reality is the same. You have to know the game you're playing. And many people don't even realize the game changed. So the next time somebody tells you about the good old days of working 30 years and retiring comfortably, understand there was a different system in place. Workers weren't necessarily smarter. The system was different. The risk was different. The expectations were different. And today, we're all trying to navigate a retirement system that puts more responsibility on the individual than ever before. That's the conversation. So what do you think? Were pensions better? Are 401ks better? Or did corporations simply find a way to transfer the risk and protect themselves? I've worked for corporations for most of my life. And there was only one place that I worked at where there was actually a pension plan. But you had to be there for, I think it was 5 years, in order for the pension plan to get in play. So what did I see the company doing? They would lay off people right before you hit 5 years. They would ride you out the door. They would do everything in their power to make sure you didn't make that 5-year mark. And I myself was part of a layoff 2 years in. And I was blindsided by that because my plan was indeed to make it to the 5-year mark so that I at least could say, hey man, I've qualified for some minimum pension plan here. But that didn't work out for me. And that's the trend that I see in a lot of companies. If they offer it, it's going to be the hardest thing in the world for you to qualify for it. But if not, you're looking at a 401k. And the 401k comes in many different flavors. I've had companies that had 100% match up to 7%. And I've had companies that had 25% match up to 4%. So it just depends on the company, because now there's so many variations that they can pick and choose how they contribute to your 401k, because companies will typically contribute. And the longer you are there, the more they will contribute. So basically, if you show loyalty and you make it through X amount of years, then they'll show a little bit of loyalty and up the percentage of how much they're going to give you in the 401k plan that you decide to contribute to. But always remember, you're going to have to contribute a certain amount in order for them to match it. They're not just going to give it to you. So there's always an onus on the employee to basically stake some of their retirement through their current earnings. Things always change. And the longer that I've been here on earth, the more I see employers are putting more emphasis on the employee to take care of what their future looks like. Remember what we always say. If you're working at a company and you died tomorrow, your job would be posted before the end of the week. And most times, probably before your funeral is even held. In my opinion, these companies don't care at all. They care about dollars and cents. They don't care about the employee. Now, that's a general statement because there are some companies that still have a nice culture. I've heard about it through the grapevine. Hey, I worked at such and such company. It was so fantastic. We did these things and they really cared about us. And that's great. But always remember, the bottom line is the bottom line. Services paid, services rendered. So if you want to learn more about your retirement, your future, financial literacy, as mentioned here, is critical. The company is not going to teach you that. You're going to have to learn that on your own. You're going to have to do your own research. You're going to have to ask important questions. You're going to have to understand money and how it grows. You're going to have to understand discipline. You're going to have to learn discipline. You're going to have to learn consistency. And you're going to have to learn patience. So the days of our parents and grandparents are gone. But kudos to them for being able to take advantage of a system that was in play that allowed them to comfortably walk off into the sunset on a fixed income. But at least they knew what they were stepping into. They knew what the end goal was. For the rest of us, we're going to have to figure it out. As always, this is Ain't Nobody Squeaky Clean. And until next time, I hope you have a blessed day and a blessed week. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to share these episodes with your friends and family that need this information. And for this one, share it with an older relative who may have benefited from a pension plan. They can tell you a little more about the good old days. And maybe there's a business opportunity in it for us to figure out how we can bring some of that back. Somehow, some way. I'll talk to you soon.